Hi, my name is Rachel and Sidney Greenbush, and I played Carrie Ingalls, a role I shared with my twin sisters.
Hi, my name is Sidney Greenbush, and I played Carrie on Little House on the Prairie.
My favorite moment was getting to be nailed to the roof with Victor French.
Prairie, look!
Remember them putting a safety belt underneath my dress and then pulling my dress out all around. And then, of course, Victor made it fun. So it was never scary in any way, but it was a fun and one of my favorite experiences.
She's too little. She'll fall off.
Well, ain't no chance of that. I got her dress nailed to the roof.
Sidney that played Peekaboo under the bed.
I'm actually hiding from Mr. Edwards, and Mr. Edwards can't find me, and he comes in the house completely befuddled because he's looked everywhere, and then Carrie comes out from underneath the bed.
Whoa!
When we shot the episode Little Girl Lost, I was the one that fell in the well.
And I come out.
Is they actually tied, and I can remember them tying the butterfly to my dress with a piece of fishing line so that it could never truly get out of camera or away from me. And then they wanted me to pretend I was trying to catch it until I moved myself over to this wood plank that looked kind of like a diving board with a hole dug out underneath it. And I had to chase the butterfly off that board and then jump into the hole and then crouch down and hide. Allison jokes that I'm still stuck in the well somewhere because Sidney came out and I fell in, and so she jokes around that I'm still there.
Rachel and I were interchangeable. A lot of time the person that starts an adventure isn't necessarily the one that ends it. So although I take off in the hot air balloon and I have a grand time sightseeing, it's actually Rachel that's rescued in the field when the balloon comes down.
Sure, fine.
So my dad actually happened to be on set with us, but when they wanted me to go up in the hot air balloon in the basket, they were going to lift it up on the crane, and they were going to lift it up above the 3-story buildings, so it was pretty high in the air, and I had some reservations about it. And so my dad told me he would lay down in the bottom of the basket with a death grip around my ankles, holding me so that I don't fall out of the basket.
Another favorite episode would be The God Sister, because for the first time my sister and I got to work together, because a lot of people didn't know that we were twins, because on the billing it looks like just one name. So everybody assumed it was just one girl. So they didn't have to use any special effects to double one person. I could just use my sister and we could be on camera at the same time.
The God Sister was a lot of fun to film, and it was really Michael's way of letting the secret out that he had twins playing the role of Carrie.
Sidney was Alyssa in that scene, and I was Carrie. And so there was this big balloon raspberry that we were standing behind, and behind that raspberry was a bowl of raspberry juice with one little balloon in it. So I had to duck down behind that raspberry and get that balloon and smear it on my face and then stand up and say,
That's good. Told you so.
So when you watch the opening credits and it shows the girls running down the hill, the first clip of us running down the hill is me. And the second clip of actual falling is Sidney. So there's a little bit of both of us in there.
The scene where I run and I fall down is probably one of the scenes that people remember the most.
So we were all sitting underneath the trees while the kids were taking turns running down the hill. Well, then they started calling for us to be on set. My mom rushed to put our dress back on and to put Sidney's shoes back on. So in the rush to get everything back on Sidney and her shoes and everything, she put the shoes on the wrong feet.
But as this hill gets steeper, I know in my head I'm in trouble because I'm going at a rate of speed that's faster than what my feet can catch up to. And at a certain point, you see my arms go to the left and my body's going to the right. And at that point, I've completely lost control and I trip. And then I actually hit the ground, so much momentum that my feet come up over my head and I almost come all the way over. The original plan wasn't for me to fall. It was something that was completely organic. And I think it wasn't until the next day when they were watching the footage, the dailies, everybody started laughing. And I always think it's like the birth of America's Funniest Home Videos, you know, because it's a complete wipeout, you know.
My favorite part of being on the show is the family that we were behind the scenes, because of a lot of us kids were growing up together.
It was a lot of fun to work with Victor French.
Look out! Hold on tight. Here we go.
I've had a lot of fans tell Rachel and I that when they're bringing up their kids, they struggle really hard to find wholesome shows like Little House.
In Little House on the Prairie, community always pitched together and cared about their neighbors. And so there was a love and caring aspect to the show. And so I think this endeared it to millions and still does for new watchers.